This article I chose to do is called Think Bigger About Science Using Twitter for Learning in the Middle Grades by Ryan Becker and Penny Bishop. As they started this article, they had to do some research first, and they found out that 82% of 13-year-olds report using social media network sites. The majority of middle schoolers also believe that social media has a positive influence on their social and emotional well-being. And third, digital tools have the potential to engage and motivate students, to increase academic outcomes, and to improve attendance and discipline. From their research and knowing which technologies are up to date, they found out that popular technologies include Facebook, blogs, Google Docs, wikis, Twitter, Edmodo, and YouTube. These all provide sharing, interaction, and collaboration among students, which is why they're popular in education. Within these technologies, there is such thing as closed and open technologies. Edmodo is an example of a closed technology. It is also known as academic social networking, where the teacher creates this and is monitoring it. It's usually only classmates working together within their class. Open is technologies such as Facebook and Twitter, and they're open because it lets students access, engage, and make sense of the world by connecting with followers in the science realm. They can connect with content that interests them, and it is not as monitored by the teacher. This article specifically focuses on Twitter in a classroom, so that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to focus on 8th grade in Ryan's class at Woodstock Union Middle School. A little bit about the school is there are 150 7th and 8th grade students at the school, and he uses Twitter in the 8th grade physical science classroom in order to let the students do research and share what they're learning. He also uses this as a way for students to engage in the technologies they're using at home in the classroom. You might be thinking, why does he use Twitter? Well, he decided to use Twitter so students can follow who they want regarding science content. Also, so students can find their own connections that relate to science in the real world outside of the classroom that interest them. They can share with other students outside of the classroom. It also teaches the students digital citizenship, which is important in the real world. It also teaches students literacies such as concise syntax, reading articles, journals, newspapers, etc. They can follow reputable sources and get up-to-date discoveries and information right on the spot. It's also a great way for the teacher to give formative assessments, such as their tweets, replies, and hashtags. The hashtags show how students can relate their tweet to similar concepts. It also gives them only 140 characters, so it makes sure students really understand the concept to include most important information in their tweets. Also may be thinking, how did he measure effectiveness while using Twitter? Well, he conducted surveys and allowed students to discuss what they thought, and he also observed them throughout the whole process. He did all these things in order to make sure that the students were actually learning what they should be learning from the Twitter posts. Some of the challenges he faced while using Twitter was the setup account. Many students couldn't access the account during school because of blockage issues or anything like that. So they'd have to set it up at home, which caused problems. Also, guidance. Some students needed more guidance than others on how to use the program and how to use it differently from their personal account at home. Also, managing objectionable material, such as profanity, which was only a couple students, but still needs to be addressed. Things to remember while starting this process is that you need parent support. You also need principal support, because they're the ones who are going to help you through this whole process with your students. You also need the teachers to be practicing using Twitter so they can ensure the best teaching goes towards their students. Also, students may want to use a different name to be more open to responding. If this is the case, I suggest letting them do this because it'll make them respond more openly and give you a better chance to assess them. Last, here are just a few examples of the students' tweets. On the far left, you see some students who were talking about this project that they were working on in a video they watched to help them get started. In the bottom, you see a summary of what chemistry means to them, which is how the teacher could formally assess them. And then to the right, you have a student sharing their interests of fireworks and chemical reactions. This is what this article was about, just a little bit about how to use Twitter in the classroom.